The world watched in disbelief as on August 26, 2025, the United States silenced its skies. For the first time in modern history, the hum of jet engines and the distant roar of planes overhead vanished, leaving an eerie quiet that stretched from coast to coast. People stepped outside and looked up, expecting to see contrails or hear the familiar sounds of flight, but instead, there was only silence. A silence that felt both unnatural and deeply unsettling. Every commercial, private, and cargo plane was ordered to the ground, not for weather or technical failure, but because of a terrifying incident at a remote yet vital airport in Alaska. The order was swift and absolute, leaving thousands of aircraft stranded on runways and taxiways, their journeys abruptly halted. The ripple effect was immediate, as airports across the nation scrambled to accommodate the sudden influx of grounded planes. The story of what happened at Ted Stevens Anchorage International Airport is not just local news, it's a global crisis. Anchorage, often overlooked, is a critical hub for international cargo and passenger flights, connecting continents and economies. What unfolded there sent shockwaves far beyond Alaska's borders, raising urgent questions about safety, security, and the vulnerabilities of our interconnected world. The silence above American cities spoke volumes about the gravity of the threat. For the first time in decades, the skies were empty, and the absence of movement overhead became a symbol of uncertainty and fear. The stillness was a stark reminder of how much we rely on the invisible web of air travel that connects our lives. For millions, it meant chaos and fear. For businesses, severed supply chains and frozen activity. Travelers found themselves stranded in unfamiliar cities, families separated by thousands of miles, and critical goods delayed indefinitely. The economic impact was immediate, as warehouses shuttered, delivery trucks sat idle, and entire industries braced for losses. The government faced a security challenge of the highest order. Top officials convened in emergency meetings, racing to assess the threat and coordinate a response. The stakes were nothing less than national security, and every decision carried enormous consequences for the country and the world. What could be so serious as to warrant shutting down the airspace of a global superpower? The question echoed across newsrooms and living rooms alike, fueling speculation and anxiety. Was it a cyber attack, a terrorist threat, or something even more unimaginable? The lack of answers only deepened the sense of crisis. International carriers diverted, passengers stranded, and global markets rattled. The world's airlines scrambled to reroute flights while investors watched in alarm as stock prices tumbled. The disruption rippled across continents, highlighting just how interconnected and fragile our systems have become. The incident exposed a vulnerability experts have long feared. For years, warnings about the risks to critical infrastructure had gone unheeded. Now, those fears were realized, and the nation was forced to confront the reality that even the most advanced systems can be brought to a standstill. As the nation holds its breath, the ground stop remains in effect and answers are only beginning to emerge. Investigators are working around the clock, piecing together the events that led to this unprecedented shutdown. The world waits, anxious for clarity and desperate for reassurance. This story will delve into the heart of the crisis, the history of the airport, and the timeline of terrifying events. We'll explore how a single incident in Alaska could bring a nation to a halt, and what it reveals about the systems we depend on every day. We'll analyze the cascading effects on politics, the economy, and daily life. From Wall Street to Main Street, the consequences are far-reaching, touching every aspect of society. Families gather around television, searching for updates, while businesses scramble to adapt to a world suddenly cut off from the skies. Most importantly, we'll look at what this means for the future. How will aviation, security, and global commerce change in the wake of this crisis? What lessons will be learned, and what new safeguards will be put in place to prevent this from happening again? The need for clarity and truth has never been greater. In a time of confusion and fear, accurate information is the only way forward. The nation and the world demands answers. The world needs to understand why the skies went silent. Only by uncovering the truth can we hope to restore confidence and ensure the safety of our skies for generations to come. This is a moment that will be etched into our collective memory. The images of empty runways and silent airports will linger long after the crisis has passed, serving as a stark reminder of our vulnerabilities and our resilience. The silence in the skies is a warning and a call to action. As we move forward, we must confront the challenges exposed by this event and work together to build a safer, more secure future for all. To grasp the magnitude of the incident, you must understand Anchorage's unique role. Ted Stevens Anchorage International is a global crossroads, a linchpin in the world's air cargo network. Its location makes it one of the busiest cargo airports, connecting North America and Asia. What happens in Anchorage reverberates through global supply chains. Major logistics companies move everything from electronics to medical supplies through here. This strategic importance also makes it a point of vulnerability. An incident here isn't just local, it's a direct assault on the circulatory system of global commerce. The planners knew, a break in this link could threaten the entire chain. The ground stop of 2025 echoes past aviation crises, reminding us that the world of flight, for all its technological marvels, is still deeply susceptible to disruption. Every era has faced its own aviation emergencies, from hijackings to system failures, and each has left a mark on how we approach safety in the skies. This latest event forces us to confront a hard truth. The system remains vulnerable no matter how many layers of security we add or how advanced our technology becomes. After the tragedy of 9/11, security efforts zeroed in on passengers, transforming the airport experience for millions and making personal screening a top priority. But experts have long warned that air cargo, often overlooked, presents its own set of risks that can be just as serious as those posed by passengers. The sheer volume and speed of cargo operations make thorough screening incredibly difficult. Thousands of packages move through airports every hour, and even a small gap in oversight can have major consequences. In 2010, bombs hidden in printer cartridges nearly made it onto US planes, a chilling wake-up call that led to tighter cargo screening and new international protocols. It was a stark reminder that threats can come in unexpected forms, yet balancing the need for speed with the demands of security remains a constant challenge. Airports are under pressure to keep goods moving, but every shortcut can open the door to danger. Yesterday's incident in Anchorage is the realization of these long-standing fears, a scenario that security experts have warned about for years. Adversaries have studied our systems, looking for gaps and weaknesses, always searching for the next opportunity to exploit. The decision to ground every plane across the country signals a threat so severe, officials couldn't risk a repeat elsewhere. It was a move made out of necessity, not caution. This wasn't a light decision, it was a last resort, taken only when all other options had been exhausted and the stakes were simply too high. The threat discovered in Alaska was so advanced, so unexpected, it forced the nation to hit the emergency stop, an action rarely seen in aviation history. The vulnerabilities of aviation are not just history, they're a present danger, demanding constant vigilance, adaptation, and a willingness to confront uncomfortable truths about the systems we rely on every day. The crisis began on a seemingly normal Tuesday morning in Anchorage. At 10:30 a.m., a routine cargo inspection flagged an anomaly in a container bound for the continental U.S. What agents found was a highly sophisticated explosive device, designed to evade conventional screening and hidden within commercial goods. The device was neutralized, but the discovery triggered a frantic investigation. Officials feared this was not an isolated attempt, but the work of a well-funded, organized group. The risk of multiple similar threats in transit was deemed credible and imminent. The scope of the crisis grew. The threat was no longer confined to Alaska, but hidden within millions of tons of cargo nationwide. It was a national emergency unfolding at 30,000 feet. The decision to ground every plane was made in high-stakes White House meetings. The novel explosive device meant existing security couldn't be trusted. At 4:15 p.m., the FAA issued the unprecedented order: all flights grounded, effective immediately. Planes in the air landed at the nearest airport, international flights diverted. The U.S. airspace emptied in under an hour, a monumental logistical feat. This was more extreme than 9/11 immediate, absolute, and aimed at preventing mid-air explosions from an unseen enemy. The silence in the skies was the sound of a nation taking the most extreme precaution possible. The ground stop's impact was immediate and profound. Within minutes, the entire nation's air travel network came to a standstill, leaving travelers and officials alike in disbelief. The sudden halt rippled through every corner of the country, creating a sense of confusion and urgency that was felt in every major city. Millions were stranded as airports transformed into makeshift camps. People sprawled across terminal floors, clutching their belongings, while others waited in endless lines at rental car counters and hotel desks. Within hours, every available car and hotel room was booked, leaving many with nowhere to go and no way to continue their journeys. The aviation industry bled hundreds of millions of dollars every hour, but the shockwaves didn't stop there. Airlines, airports, and related businesses faced mounting losses, and the financial toll quickly spread to other sectors. Factories halted production as critical parts failed to arrive. Retailers watched shelves empty, unable to restock. Essential shipments, from medical supplies to fresh food, sat delayed in airport warehouses, threatening supply chains nationwide. The psychological impact was deep and unsettling. Empty skies overhead and a constant barrage of breaking news alerts stirred old fears and anxieties, reminding many of past crises and the vulnerability of modern life. Social media exploded with images and videos of chaos and frustration. Hashtags trended as people shared their stories, vented their anger, and searched for answers in real time. The shutdown disrupted both personal and professional lives. Conferences and business meetings were abruptly canceled, teams were grounded, and families found themselves separated by thousands of miles, unable to reunite. The true cost was measured in missed moments, birthdays, weddings, final goodbyes, and a collective sense of insecurity that settled over the nation. For many, the pain of separation and uncertainty was the hardest blow. The incident pierced the bubble of normalcy, exposing just how fragile and interconnected our systems truly are. The sight of deserted terminals and silent runways was a stark wake-up call. The nation felt under siege, not from a visible enemy, but from a hidden threat that disrupted daily life and challenged our sense of security. The atmosphere was tense, as if the country was holding its breath. Even as planes slowly began to take off again and travelers cautiously returned, the effects of the shutdown lingered. The scars left behind would not heal overnight. The silence that followed was a powerful reminder of just how much we depend on the skies, and how quickly that sense of normalcy can vanish. In Washington, the shutdown ignited a political firestorm. Initial unity is already fraying as the crisis drags on. Lawmakers demand answers. How did this breach happen? Who failed? The administration faces praise for decisive action, but mounting pressure to resolve the crisis. Economic damage grows by the hour, supply chains crippled, industries stalled, markets shaken. The incident is certain to dominate the upcoming elections, with national security at the forefront. New, stricter cargo screening is inevitable, adding time and cost to global trade. Businesses may rethink just-in-time delivery, holding larger inventories as a buffer. The Alaska incident may force the global economy to recalibrate the balance between efficiency and security. Security experts see the incident as a paradigm shift. Dr. Evelyn Reed, former TSA official, says our security posture has become too predictable. The novel device proves adversaries are adapting. We must become more dynamic. Reed calls for a technological and procedural overhaul, advanced screening, AI, and smarter risk analysis. International cooperation is crucial. Security is only as strong as its weakest link. The U.S. must lead a global effort to raise cargo security standards. The decision to ground all flights was necessary, but devastating. The future demands more surgical, targeted responses. The Alaska incident is a chance to build a more resilient, intelligent security infrastructure. We must learn, adapt, and anticipate, not just react. As the nation waits, fear and frustration are natural, but unity is essential. This is a time for resolve, not division. We must demand transparency, invest in new security, and have a national conversation about the balance between safety and freedom. Every citizen has a stake in this debate. We owe gratitude to those who kept us safe: TSA agents, investigators, air traffic controllers, and pilots. Their professionalism prevented catastrophe. Our goal is not just to return to normal, but to create a stronger, safer normal. The empty skies are temporary. The lessons must be permanent. Let this be a catalyst for positive change and a safer future. The world is watching. Our response will define our resilience for years to come.